You join Interpol at 28 with a law degree from Georgetown and 3 years at the DEA. You speak Spanish fluently because your mother was from Bogota. You can read financial statements because your father was an accountant. You're good at puzzles, not the kind with pieces. The kind where you have 12 unrelated data points and you're supposed to find the pattern that connects them. That skill gets you assigned to the transnational organized crime unit. Your first case file is 2 inches thick. The subject's name is Eduardo Vargas. The file says he runs a cartel that moves 4 tons of cocaine into Europe every month. Your job is to find him. The problem is that Eduardo Vargas doesn't exist. Not officially, no birth certificate, no passport, no driver's license, no property in his name, no bank accounts, no social media. He's a ghost who moves 48 tons of product a year. Your predecessor spent 6 years on this case and retired without ever seeing a photograph of the man. They promote you into his vacancy. The message is clear: we don't expect you to succeed. We just need someone assigned. You start where everyone starts, the periphery. The cartel has a structure. At the bottom are street dealers. Above them, distributors. Above them, regional coordinators. Above them, logistics managers. At the top, somewhere you can't see, is Vargas. You can't go up, so you go sideways. You map the network. Every arrest, every seizure, every financial transaction, you build a database. You look for anomalies, a shipment that moves through Barcelona instead of Rotterdam, a payment that routes through Cyprus instead of Panama. Patterns emerge. The cartel operates like a corporation. It has redundancy. If one route closes, another opens. If one manager gets arrested, another takes his place. You're not hunting a man, you're hunting a system. Your break comes from a money launderer in Zurich. He's arrested on an unrelated case. Tax evasion, he's 63 and looking at 15 years. He doesn't want to die in prison. He offers a deal. He'll give you names, not Vargas. He's never met Vargas, but he's processed payments. He knows the structure. You fly to Zurich. You sit across from him in a room with no windows and a lawyer who keeps checking his watch. The launderer draws you an org chart. He names 6 logistics managers. He explains how payments flow. Shipments move through legitimate freight companies. Payments move through import-export firms. The cartel doesn't own these companies. It just uses them. Shell corporations, layered ownership. You can trace the money but never to a person, always to another shell, always to another country. The system is designed to be untraceable. You take the chart, you verify the names. 4 of the 6 are already dead or in prison. The other 2 are ghosts like Vargas, but now you have the structure. You know how the machine works. You just can't see who's operating it. You spend 18 months building cases against mid-level operators. You coordinate with police in Spain, France, Netherlands, and Colombia. You feed them intelligence, they make arrests, you seize shipments, you freeze bank accounts, you dismantle pieces of the network. The cartel adapts, new routes open, new managers appear. You're cutting the tentacles off an octopus that grows them back overnight. Your supervisor calls you into his office. He says, "We've arrested 43 people, we've seized 6 tons of cocaine. We've frozen $18 million. We haven't gotten 1 inch closer to Vargas. Maybe it's time to focus on what we can achieve." You hear what he's actually saying: give up. You don't give up. You double down. The second break comes from Colombia. A cartel enforcer turns informant. He's facing extradition to the US where he'll never see daylight again. He wants a deal. He says he's met Vargas once, 5 years ago. The meeting was in a villa outside Medellin. The enforcer was there to deliver a message about a shipment. Vargas was in the room for 3 minutes. The enforcer describes him: late 40s, 6 feet tall, black hair going gray, scar on his left hand from a burn. No photos were allowed, no phones, just the meeting. The enforcer says Vargas spoke with a Mexico City accent. That's it, that's all he has. You take it. It's the first physical description anyone's ever given. You create a profile. You distribute it through Interpol channels. You wait. The waiting is the job. You review surveillance footage from shipping ports. You analyze financial transactions. You monitor encrypted communications that you can't decode but can pattern match. You spend 10 hours a day staring at data looking for the deviation that means something. Your colleagues think you're obsessed. Your supervisor thinks you're wasting resources. You think they're right, but you don't stop, because somewhere in the data is a thread. And if you pull the right thread, the whole thing unravels. You find the thread in month 23. A shipping container from Ecuador arrives in Valencia. It's flagged for random inspection. Inside, 12 tons of bananas and 60 kilograms of cocaine hidden in a false floor. Standard seizure. But when you trace the shipping manifest, it routes through a company in Cyprus. That company is owned by a shell in the British Virgin Islands. That shell is owned by another shell in Malta. You trace it back through 7 layers. At the end, you find a name, not Vargas. A lawyer in Luxembourg named Hector Reyes. You run him, he's clean, no criminal record, practices corporate law, but he's registered as the director of 43 companies, all of them shells. All of them connected to shipments or payments that trace back to the cartel. You travel to Luxembourg, you put Reyes under surveillance. He goes to his office, he goes to lunch, he goes home. He's boring, he's also the gatekeeper. Every payment, every shipment, every transaction routes through a company he controls. You can't arrest him, he hasn't committed a crime you can prove. He's just a lawyer managing corporate entities, but you can pressure him. You freeze 3 of his company's accounts. You flag 10 of his shipments for inspection. You make his life professionally complicated. Then you wait. 2 weeks later, he reaches out through an intermediary. He wants to talk, not on record, off the books. You meet him at a cafe in Luxembourg City. He's 56. He looks tired. He says, "I'm a lawyer, I manage entities, I don't ask what they're used for," you say, "but you know." He says, "Knowing isn't the same as proving." You say, "I can make your business model very difficult to sustain." He says, "What do you want?" You say, "Vargas." He says, "I've never met him." You say, "But you've communicated with him." He says, "Through intermediaries, always through intermediaries." You say, "I need a name, someone closer." He thinks. Then he writes down a name, Rafael Covas. He says, "Vargas's logistics coordinator, he's in Madrid, that's all I have." You take the name, you leave. Rafael Covas is real, Spanish national, age 41, no criminal record. Runs a legitimate import-export business in Madrid. He travels frequently. South America, Eastern Europe, North Africa, always business, always documented. You put him under surveillance. Spanish police help. You watch him for 3 months. He meets with clients. He reviews shipping manifests. He's clean, too clean. You get a warrant to tap his phone. He uses encrypted apps. You get a warrant to monitor his email. He uses anonymous services. You get a warrant to search his office. You find business records that all check out, but you also find a ledger, handwritten. It doesn't match his corporate accounts. It's a second set of books. It tracks shipments that don't exist in his official records. It tracks payments to accounts that aren't registered to his company. You arrest him. Covas doesn't talk. His lawyer is expensive. His lawyer is also connected. You can't prove the ledger is connected to drug trafficking. It's just numbers. You need more. You offer him a deal. 20 years or he gives you Vargas. He says, "I don't know where Vargas is." You say, "But you've communicated with him." He says, "Through dead drops, through intermediaries. Through encrypted channels that delete after reading. I've never seen him, I've never heard his voice, I just get instructions and I execute them." You say, "How do you receive instructions?" He says, "A location, a time, a message left in a specific place. I retrieve it, I act on it, then I confirm completion through another dead drop. That's the system." You say, "Give me the next dead drop location." He says, "And then what?" "I'm still going to prison." You say, "Maybe less time if you cooperate." He thinks about it, then he gives you a location. A bookstore in Madrid, a specific book. A message will be left there within 2 weeks. You stake out the bookstore. Spanish police help. You use surveillance cameras. You watch every person who enters. You watch them browse. You watch them leave. On day 12, a man enters, age 51, matches the description from the Colombian informant 5 years ago. 6 feet, gray hair. He browses the travel section. He picks up a book. He puts it back. He leaves. You follow him. He takes a taxi to a hotel. You identify him. The passport he used to check in is Brazilian. The name is Paulo Mendes, you run him, the passport is real, but the person in the photo doesn't match the person in the hotel. Someone stole an identity, you raid the hotel room, he's gone, he checked out 30 minutes before you arrived, but he left something behind. A laptop wiped clean but not well enough. Your forensics team recovers fragments, encrypted communications, shipping routes, payment schedules, and a single email address that's been used once. You trace it, it dead ends in Portugal. But the IP address that accessed it came from a residential area outside Lisbon. You travel to Lisbon, Portuguese police help, you identify the building, it's a gated compound, private security. You get a warrant, you coordinate a raid, Portuguese tactical unit executes, you're there as an observer. The compound has 8 residents, 7 are legitimate, business owners, retirees. One is registered as Paulo Mendes, the same fake identity from Madrid. You enter the residence. It's empty, furniture, food in the refrigerator, but no people. You search it, you find an office. Inside, computers, files, records, everything you need to dismantle the network. Shipment schedules, financial records, contact lists, but no Vargas. You find a photograph on the desk. A man in his late 40s standing on a beach. Black hair going gray, he's smiling. On the back, written in pen, Cabo Verde 2018, you recognize the man, it's him, it's Vargas. You finally have a photograph, you trace the Cabo Verde lead. It's an island nation off the coast of West Africa, no extradition treaty with most European countries. A haven for people who don't want to be found, you coordinate with local authorities. They're cooperative but resource limited, you travel there yourself, you show the photograph. Someone recognizes him, he stayed at a resort in 2018, paid cash, used the name Paulo Mendes, but he's not there anymore, no one's seen him in years, you check flight records. He flew to São Tomé and Príncipe in 2019, another island nation, another haven. You follow, same result, he was there, he's gone, you track him through Mauritania, Senegal, Morocco. He's always 6 months ahead, always gone before you arrive. You're chasing a ghost who's learned that the world has enough forgotten places to hide forever. You spend 6 years on the case. You've arrested 212 people, you've seized 43 tons of cocaine, you've frozen $200 million in assets, you've dismantled half the cartel's network. You've never met Eduardo Vargas, you've seen one photograph, you have a description, you know his patterns, but you don't have him. Your supervisor calls you in. He says, you've done extraordinary work, the operation has been one of Interpol's most successful. We're reassigning you, you say, the case isn't closed, he says, the case will never be closed. Vargas will die of old age in some country we can't touch and someone will take his place. You've done what we can do, that has to be enough, it's not enough, but it's all there is. You're reassigned to training, you teach new agents how to track financial crime, how to map networks, how to coordinate international operations. You're good at it, you're also haunted by it. Every time you see a drug seizure in the news, you look at the details, you check the routes, you trace the connections, you're looking for Vargas, you're always looking for Vargas. He's in his 60s now, maybe he's retired, maybe he's dead, maybe he's exactly where he's always been, everywhere and nowhere. You receive an envelope 3 years after you're reassigned. No return address, postmarked São Tomé and Príncipe. Inside, a photograph, a man on a beach, late 60s, gray hair, the same scar on his left hand, he's smiling. On the back, written in pen, you came close, that's all, no name, no threat, just acknowledgement. You stare at it for a long time, you've spent 9 years hunting him. You've never been closer than this photograph, you put it in a drawer, you don't report it, you don't tell anyone, because what would you say? That the man you spent a decade hunting sent you a postcard to let you know he won? International law enforcement doesn't run on victories, it runs on the belief that pressure creates cracks. That systems break, that eventually someone makes a mistake, you created the pressure, you found the cracks, but the system adapted faster than you could break it, you didn't fail. You just learned that some people are better at hiding than you are at hunting. And the worst part, he knows it, that's why he sent the photograph, not as a threat, as a professional courtesy. One goes to another.